Hey everyone, I'm here in Northern California. It's a pretty foggy, dreary day, so I'm gonna make some bread. And this is Julia Child's perfect sandwich bread, right here. It's structured for, you can make it by hand or you can do it in your bread machine. I have my trusty bread man behind me. And I've made it in the bread machine before, but today I'm gonna do it all by hand. I have a nice bubbly starter, nice bubbly sourdough starter. And I just mixed it with some milk and butter, Miyoko's vegan butter, and some silk cashew milk that I like to use. And I'm going to mix this lovely mixture in here. Mixing the melted butter, cashew milk, my bubbly sourdough starter, and 3.5 cups of unbleached organic bread flour. So now I'm going to add the salt and the sugar. So 2 teaspoons of salt. And 1/2 teaspoon of sugar. I'm going to continue mixing that. It's not a authentic or true sourdough because we're going to use some commercial yeast as well. 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast, Fleischmann's active dry yeast. I like to use that brand. I use other brands too, but today I'm using the Fleischmann's. So 1 teaspoon of active dry yeast. Continue stirring. My favorite bowl and my favorite dough paddle. It's a pretty wet dough. It's sticking to the sides, but it's also coming together to form a nice ball. I'm going to dust just a little bit more flour on it, not much. I don't want to overwork it and overflour it. But everything's coming together in a nice ball. I'm going to leave it in this bowl to rise for a couple hours. Scrape all that goodness in there. I don't leave anything behind. So now I have a nice sort of shaggy, sticky ball of dough. So I'm going to leave this here for a couple hours and it's going to rise double in bulk. I'm going to put it in a nice warm spot. It's kind of cold and dreary today, but we have the heater on. So we're gonna leave it alone, let it do its thing, and rise. I'm gonna cover it up, put it away. It'll take a couple hours. So I'm gonna go read a book, maybe do some yoga, and I'll see you all in a couple hours. So we have our nice sticky dough that's been rising for a few hours. And we're going to knead the dough by hand. Now, Julia's recipe is for either the bread machine or by hand. You can use your bread machine. It will do all the work for you. And a bread machine is really good if you have any type of hand problems or if your hands are just tired that day. I use my bread machine a lot to make dough, but today my hands feel pretty good, so I'm going to give them a little workout. We're just lightly kneading our nice ball of dough and a nice little sprinkle of flour, not too much flour, just enough to get it to hold together. It's a nice springy loaf. I'm going to spend a few minutes here kneading. Gathering the dough into a ball, back and forth. I'm going to get it so it's a nice tight ball. Together. Feels nice and springy. Julia calls this the perfect sandwich bread recipe, and she bakes it in a pullman style loaf pan. That way you get those perfect sandwich slices. I'm gonna go for something a little more rustic and just shape it into a ball, and we're gonna let it rise again, and then I'm going to bake it on my pizza stone. So I'm gonna go for something a little more rustic today rather than a neatly cut square sandwich loaf. So my bread's pretty much come together the way I like it. And I have my pan over here with some parchment and some cornmeal. And we're going to cover this with a dish towel and let it rise probably for about another hour before we pop it in the oven. All right, so our dough has been hanging out and rising in a warm environment. The stove's preheated to 425, so I'm gonna pop it in. I have my pizza stone in here. And I'm gonna slide the parchment onto the pizza stone. And we cook it at 425 for 20 minutes. Well, it's still a little warm, but we can't control ourselves. So we're gonna cut a little bit off the end here and take a look. And it smells quite delightful. Nice big holes. It didn't puff up a lot, but it is nice and soft. And it'll be perfect for dipping in olive oil or slathering with hummus. And it tastes very good. So Julia Child's perfect sandwich loaf that I turned into a round loaf. Next time I'll bake it in the bread pan like she does.